Welcome to YouTube channel Bookwise with Vishal, where we take a stack of sources and pull out the most important nuggets of knowledge for you.
And today, we're diving into a classic, J.R.R. Tolkien's The Hobbit.
Yeah.
And it's more than just a children's story, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
It's this timeless tale of adventure, courage, real transformation. And it really sets the groundwork for everything in The Lord of the Rings.
Right. So our focus today really is to follow the journey of Bilbo Baggins. He's such an unlikely hero. We want to dig into what happened, sure, but also why it matters. How does this comfort-loving hobbit become, well, something else entirely?
And then that journey starts, of course, in the Shire.
Yeah.
I mean, picture this place. It's all rolling green hills, cozy homes, hobbit holes built into the ground. It's the picture of peace and quiet.
And Bilbo Baggins of Bag End, he fits right in. Hobbits, they're small folk, love their food 7 meals a day, apparently.
Right. Gardens, predictable routines, being respectable. That's the Hobbit way. That's Bilbo.
But there's a catch, isn't there? Right from the start, Tolkien gives us this internal conflict. His father was a Baggins solid, respectable, no surprises.
Very predictable.
But his mother, Belladonna Took. And the Tooks, well, they were different, adventurous, unpredictable, maybe even a bit scandalous for Hobbit society.
That's the key tension right there. The Baggins side loves comfort, loves routine. But that Tookish side, it's got this little spark of something more, of restlessness maybe.
Exactly. He's mostly Baggins on the surface, suppressed that Tookishness for decades. But it's still there, dormant. And that's crucial for what comes next. Without it, there's no story.
Not at all. He'd just stay home.
And the person who lights the fuse, Gandalf, of course, the wizard, shows up one morning, tall guy, long gray beard, pointy blue hat, staff, classic wizard look.
You can almost picture Bilbo's reaction. Polite, a bit flustered. Invites him for tea. Just being a good Hobbit host.
He has absolutely no idea what he's just done, does he? That simple invitation for tea kicks off this massive, life-changing adventure.
And Gandalf, he didn't just pick Bilbo out of a hat. He sees something in him. That suppressed Took side, sure, but also his fundamental decency. He needs a burglar for this quest.
A burglar. Bilbo.
Yeah, that's the plan. But Gandalf needs someone who isn't like a dwarf driven by gold or a man maybe driven by glory. He needs someone, well, small, maybe a bit overlooked.
Someone whose main goal is just to get back home in one piece.
Precisely. His hobbit nature, his smallness, his essential goodness. Gandalf sees those as strengths, not weaknesses.
Okay, so Bilbo's expecting a quiet tea with a wizard. What he gets is, well, not that.
Not at all. Suddenly there's this banging on the door. And it's not just one person. It's dwarf after dwarf after dwarf piling into his tidy little hobbit hole.
13 of them, led by Thorin Oakenshield.
Yeah.
He's got this very proud, almost regal air about him, even though he's, in exile.
Right. He's the heir to this lost kingdom, and they just invade Dwalin, Balin, Keely, Feely, all the rest. They want food, drink, music, and they're talking about a dangerous quest. It completely upends Bilbo's world.
And they think he's the burglar Gandalf promised them. I mean, Bilbo can barely walk down the lane without needing a handkerchief. How's he supposed to rob a dragon?
Well, that's Gandalf's gamble, isn't it? He knows a dwarf might get too fixated on the treasure. A human warrior might be too bold. Bilbo is small, quiet, maybe clever in a different way.
And maybe less likely to be corrupted by a giant pile of gold.
That's a big part of it, I think. His motivation isn't the treasure itself. It's about helping, maybe proving something to himself, and ultimately getting back to his armchair. Gandalf's counting on that hobbit sensibility.
Okay, so Thorin lays it out. The mission, reclaim their home, Erebor, the Lonely Mountain, and the treasure inside. It's not just robbery, it's like reclaiming their heritage.
Absolutely. We need to understand Erebor's history here. Thorin's grandfather, Thror, was king under the mountain. It was this incredibly wealthy, thriving dwarf kingdom, famous for its craftsmanship.
Until Smaug.
Until Smaug, this massive, terrifying, red golden dragon. He just appeared. Swept down, took the mountain, burned the town of Dale nearby, killed countless dwarves, and claimed all the treasure for himself. Just like that.
So the dwarves were scattered, became refugees, basically. Losing Erebor wasn't just about losing gold. It was like losing their soul, their identity.
Yeah, exactly. Their whole culture was tied to that mountain. So Thorin's quest, it's driven by this deep sense of loss and this burning desire for restoration, for justice, really.
And Gandalf has the key, literally. He gives Thorin an old map and a key.
He does. Inherited items from Thorin's family. But the map is tricky. The real breakthrough comes later. when they stop in Rivendell.
Ah, Elrond's place, the last homely house.
Right. And Elrond, being incredibly wise and learned in ancient runes and languages, he finds something hidden on the map. Moon letters.
Moon letters, what are those?
They're written in secret runes that only show up under the light of the same phase of moon they were written under. Very clever elvish or dwarvish magic.
And these letters reveal the secret entrance.
Exactly. They give this very specific instruction. Stand by the gray stone when the thrush knocks, and the setting sun with the last light of Durin's day will shine upon the keyhole.
Okay, thrush knocks, Durin's day. That sounds very specific. What's Durin's day?
It's the first day of the dwarves' new year. It's significant because it happens only when the last moon of autumn and the sun are in the sky together on that specific day. It's a rare event.
So it ties the quest to a specific time, a specific alignment, almost like fate.
Precisely. For the dwarves, especially Durin's folk like Thorin, it connects them back to their ancestors, to their deepest history and prophecies. It suggests their return isn't just possible, it's meant to be. Adds a huge weight of destiny to it all.
Wow, no wonder that gives them hope. But Bilbo, he must have terrified hearing all this. Dragons, secret doors, Durin's day.
Oh, completely. He's like, nope, not me. I'm not a burglar. I'm a respectable hobbit. He wants nothing to do with it initially.
So what changes his mind? It can't just be Gandalf pushing him.
It's actually the dwarves' song. They start singing this deep, sad, beautiful song about their lost home, the riches, the darkness, the dragon. And something stirs in Bilbo.
The Tookish side.
Yeah, that Tookish curiosity.
Yeah.
The romance of it, maybe. The idea of mountains and gold and, yes, even dragons. It taps into something he didn't know was there. It overcomes the Baggins' desire for comfort. Just for a moment.
So he agrees.
He sort of faints, then wakes up the next morning almost convincing himself it was a dream. But Gandalf is there, basically shoving him out the door.
Ah, so he runs off without his hat, his pocket handkerchief, anything.
Pretty much. Forgetting his handkerchief is a big deal for a hobbit. It's this funny, slightly chaotic start to this epic journey. The respectable hobbit is gone, replaced by, well, a very unprepared adventurer.
So they head east. And Bilbo's having a rough time, right? The dwarves aren't exactly gentle with him.
No, they tease him quite a bit. He's soft, used to comfort, sleeping on the cold ground, rationing food. It's a shock to his system. He's completely out of his element.
But then they run into actual danger. The trolls.
Right. Their first real test as a company. They see a light off the path, and Thorin sends Bilbo, the designated burglar, to investigate.
And he finds 3 huge trolls. Tom, Bert, and William, I think.
That's them. Big, lumbering, not very bright creatures, arguing about how to cook mutton. And Bilbo, trying to prove himself, decides to pickpocket one of them.
How does that go?
About as well as you'd expect. He tries to lift William's purse, but the purse itself squeaks. It alerts the trolls, and bam, Bilbo's caught.
Oh dear, and the dwarves.
They come looking for him, one by one, and the trolls just nab them too. Pretty soon, the whole company, except Gandalf, is tied up in sacks, about to become troll stew.
So Gandalf saves the day again. How? Magic.
Not exactly magic. More like cleverness. He hides nearby and starts mimicking the trolls' voices. He gets them arguing with each other, calling each other names, fighting over how to cook the dwarves.
He keeps them distracted.
Exactly. He keeps them bickering and shouting until the sun comes up. And trolls, as everyone knows, turn to stone if they're caught in daylight.
Ugh, classic troll weakness. So they'd just become statues.
Yep. 3 big stony trolls. Problem solved.
Yeah.
And then they find the troll's cave.
And there's treasure.
Gold, supplies, and crucially, some very special swords. Ancient blades made by elves in Gondolin in the elder days.
Wow. So important stuff.
Very. Bilbo gets a small dagger, which he later calls Sting. Gandalf takes Glamdring, the foe hammer. And Thorin claims Orcrist, the goblin cleaver.
Goblin cleaver. That sounds ominous, like it's foreshadowing something.
It absolutely is. These swords glow blue when orcs, or goblins as they're often called in The Hobbit, are near. And carrying them is like carrying a piece of ancient history that goblins really hate.
Which leads them directly into the next problem, right? The Misty Mountains.
They're trying to find shelter from a huge storm, and these massive stone giants are throwing boulders around. They duck into what looks like a dry cave.
Bad idea.
Very bad idea. It's actually a goblin back door. In the middle of the night, the floor cracks open and goblins swarm out, grabbing them all.
Oh no, dragged deep inside the mountains.
Right down into the tunnels, to the great goblin himself. And he immediately recognizes Orcrist and Glamdring. He knows exactly what those swords mean, death to his kind. He's furious.
The dead four.
It looks like it. But just as the great goblin is about to give the order, poof, Gandalf appears. Flash of light, he strikes down the Great Goblin with Glamdring, and chaos erupts. They make a run for it.
But it's dark, confusing.
Exactly. In the mad scramble, Dory, who's carrying Bilbo, gets grabbed from behind. Bilbo falls, hits his head, and gets knocked out cold.
When he wakes up,
He's alone, utterly alone in the pitch-black darkness deep under the mountains.
this is it. This is the moment everything changes. Maybe the single most pivotal moment in the whole story, maybe even for Middle-earth history.
Because as he's feeling around on the cold, damp floor,
He finds something. A small, cool metal ring. And he just slips it into his pocket, has no idea what it is, just a random thing he found.
and then he meets Gollum. Yeah, this strange, pale, slimy creature with big, luminous eyes, paddling a little boat on a dark underground lake. He talks to himself, calls the ring his precious.
And Gollum wants to eat Bilbo.
He does. But he's also ancient, and in his own way, bound by rules. He loves riddles, so he proposes a game, a riddle contest. If Bilbo wins, Gollum shows him the way out. If Gollum wins, well,
Lunchtime for Gollum.
pretty much.
Yeah.
And it's this incredibly tense back and forth. Bilbo somehow taps into that Tookish cleverness again and manages to answer Gollum's riddles.
Until the last one, the pocket riddle.
Right. Bilbo can't think of another riddle. He's stalling. His hand happens to be on the ring in his pocket, and he just blurts out, "What have I got in my pocket?"
Which isn't really a fair riddle.
Gollum complains,
Yeah.
but he accepts it. He can't guess, of course. He gets frantic. He decides he needs his magic ring that makes him invisible to help him cheat or attack Bilbo.
But the ring isn't where he left it.
It's gone. And Gollum lets out this terrifying shriek. He realizes Bilbo must have it. He knows what's in Bilbo's pocket now, and he's coming for him.
So Bilbo runs. And he puts the ring on.
He does. Maybe accidentally at first, just slips it on his finger as he stumbles. And suddenly, Gollum runs right past him. He's invisible.
He realizes the ring's power. And this is where he has a choice, doesn't he? He follows Gollum towards an exit tunnel.
But Gollum is blocking the path, wretched and weeping. Bilbo has his sword out. He could kill Gollum right there. And the threat secures his escape. No one would ever know.
But he doesn't.
He can't bring himself to do it. He sees how miserable and pathetic Gollum is. And Tolkien makes a point of this. Pity stays his hand. It's this profound moment of compassion deep underground in the dark.
Instead of killing him, he, leaps over him.
He takes a great leap right over Gollum's head and runs for the exit. That single act of mercy, sparing Gollum's life, has enormous consequences down the line. It's maybe Bilbo's most heroic act, and it's not about fighting.
Wow. So he escapes the tunnels.
Just barely. He finds the dwarves and Gandalf outside, arguing about whether to go back for him. He appears seemingly out of nowhere, thanks to the ring.
But they're not safe yet, are they? The goblins and wargs, those big evil wolves are after them.
Oh yeah, they're hunted relentlessly. The boblins want revenge for the Great Goblin, and the wargs hate them anyway. They get cornered up in some pine trees. It's looking grim.
Gandalf's using fire magic. Throwing flaming pine cones.
He is, trying to keep the wargs at bay. But they're surrounded, it seems like the end. And then
The
eagles arrive. Gandalf had sent word somehow earlier. These giant noble birds swoop down, scatter the goblins and wargs, and carry the entire company. Dwarves, hobbit, wizard, and all the way to safety.
Incredible. Where do they take them?
Near the edge of Mirkwood Forest, close to the home of a very unusual character named Beorn.
Beorn. He's the skin changer, right? And turned into a giant bear.
That's him. A huge, powerful man, lives alone, doesn't trust strangers easily, and definitely doesn't like dwarves much. Gandalf has to be really careful introducing the company.
How does he manage it?
Very cleverly. He starts telling Beorn their story, and he introduces the dwarves, just two at a time, spinning out the tale to keep Beorn interested. It's a masterful bit of social maneuvering. Patience and storytelling win Beorn over.
And Beorn helps them. Gives them food, ponies.
He does. He's gruff, but ultimately hospitable once he verifies their story by checking out the site of the warg attack in his bear form, no less. But he gives them a very serious warning about Mirkwood Forest.
What's the warning?
Two things. Stay on the path,
Right.
no matter what, and never drink or bathe in the black enchanted stream that runs through the forest.
Sounds ominous. And then Gandalf leaves them.
Yes, this is a huge turning point. Gandalf announces he has other urgent business to attend to. We later find out it's related to investigating the necromancer, who is actually Sauron, down in Dol Guldur.
So the dwarves and Bilbo are completely on their own now. No wizard safety net.
Exactly. They have to rely on themselves and really on Bilbo, as it turns out. They enter Mirkwood, and it's awful.
How so?
It's described as this incredibly dark, suffocating forest. Thick canopy blocks the sun, strange noises, cobwebs everywhere. They lose all sense of time. Morale plummets. Supplies dwindle.
And they run into trouble with that stream Bjorn warned about.
They do. They reach the enchanted black stream. They manage to cross it. But Bomber, the fattest dwarf, falls in.
Oh no, what happens?
He instantly falls into a deep, enchanted sleep. Just like Bjorn warned. Now they have to carry him, which slows them down even more and drains their spirits further. It's a real low point.
And do they stay on the path?
Well, no. They start getting desperate, starving. They see lights flickering off in the distance, hear music and laughter. Wood elves feasting.
Tempting.
Very. Against Bjorn's warning, against Thorin's initial orders, they leave the path, trying to reach the elves and beg for food. But every time they get close, the lights vanish and the elves disappear. They just get more and more lost.
This seems like a bad cycle.
It leads directly to disaster. Lost, weak, and separated in the dark, they're ambushed by giant spiders.
Ugh. Descendants of Ungoliant or related to Shelob.
Likely related, yes. These things are huge, venomous. They wrap the dwarves up in sticky webs, intending to eat them later. All seems lost.
Except for Bilbo.
Except for Bilbo. He manages to get free, partly thanks to the ring making him invisible. And this is where Bilbo truly changes. He doesn't just run, he fights back.
He uses his little sword.
He does. He uses the ring's invisibility, his quickness, and surprising courage. He stabs spiders, cuts dwarves free, and after killing his first spider, he names his blade Sting.
That feels significant, naming the sword.
It is. It's like he's claiming a new identity. He's not just Bilbo Baggins, comfort liver. He's Bilbo Baggins, spider slayer. He even uses taunts and songs, a very Hobbit-like skill, annoying his enemies to draw the spiders away while he rescues the others.
Incredible. But Thorin isn't with them?
No. Thorin got captured earlier, separately, by the Wood Elves. Their king, Thranduil, is wary of dwarves traveling through his realm, especially towards the Lonely Mountain and its treasure. He suspects they're up to no good.
So Thranduil imprisons Thorin, and then the other dwarves get caught, too.
Yep. Shortly after the spider rescue, the rest of the dwarves blunder into the elves and are captured and brought to Thranduil's underground halls. They won't tell him their mission, so he locks them up.
But Bilbo is still free because of the ring.
Exactly. Invisible Bilbo follows them in. And he spends weeks, apparently, just sneaking around the Elven King's palace, stealing food, scouting, trying to figure out a way to free 13 dwarves from magical elf dungeons.
That sounds impossible. How does he do it?
It's brilliant, actually. He notices the elves regularly send empty wine barrels down the forest river out of Mirkwood to trade with Laketown.
Ah, the supply route.
Precisely. He waits until there's a big feast, gets the chief guard and butler drunk, steals the dungeon keys, lets the dwarves out, and packs each one of them into an empty barrel.
Seriously, crammed into barrels.
Yep. Seals them up, poor dwarves must have been miserable, and then pushes them into the river current.
What about himself?
He grabs onto the last barrel and rides it down the cold, dark river, daily freezing, all the way out of Mirkwood. It's an audacious, incredibly risky plan.
And it works. They reach Laketown.
They do. The barrels arrive at Esgaroth, Laketown, which is this amazing town built entirely on wooden platforms out over the long lake. The raftmen find the barrels, bring them ashore.
And out pop 13 soggy, grumpy dwarves and one very cold hobbit.
Exactly. And the people of Laketown are astonished. They know the old songs and prophecies about the return of the king under the mountain. They instantly hail Thorin and the dwarves as heroes.
So they get a hero's welcome?
A massive one.
Yeah.
Feasting, new clothes, supplies. The master of Laketown, who's a bit of a politician, is maybe more calculating, sees potential profit. But he gives them boats and provisions for the final leg of their journey to the Lonely Mountain.
Bilbo really pulled that off. He went from being baggage to being the essential rescuer.
He absolutely did. His cleverness, his invisibility, his sheer nerve.
Yeah.
They wouldn't have made it without him.
So the final stretch. They leave Laketown, head towards the Lonely Mountain. What's the landscape like?
It gets grim, really desolate. They see the ruins of Dale, the town smog destroyed, lifeless, scorched earth. It's a stark reminder of what they're up against. Makes Thorin even more determined, maybe even harder.
And they find the secret door based on the map.
They find the exact spot Elrond described, the narrow ledge high up on the western side, but the door is just rock. No handle, no hinges, no keyhole. It looks impassable.
So I have to wait for Durin's day.
Exactly. They wait for days. It gets colder. Their hope starts to dwindle again. Anxiety is high until finally the right day arrives. The conditions have to be perfect. The last moon of autumn, the setting sun.
And the thrush The bird from the riddle.
Yes. Just as the sun is setting, painting the mountain red, a thrush flies down, picks up a snail, and cracks it against the gray stone near them. Knock, knock, knock.
When the thrush knocks.
And the last rays of the setting sun hit that exact spot, and suddenly a tiny crack appears, outlining a door. And in the middle, a keyhole gleams.
Wow. So the prophecy was real. Thorin uses the key.
He does. The ancient key fits perfectly. The stone door swings silently inward, revealing a dark tunnel heading down into the mountain.
Okay, this is it. The moment of truth. Who goes in first?
Guess who? Not Thorin. Not the bravest dwarf warriors. They're all suddenly terrified. They push Bilbo forward. He's the burglar, after all.
Oh, Bilbo. Again.
But he does it. He summons all this courage, slips on his ring, and starts creeping down that long, dark passage alone, towards the heart of the mountain, towards the dragon.
What does he find down there?
Something beyond imagining. A vast cavern, bigger than any hall, filled floor to ceiling with treasure. Gold coins, goblets, jewels, armor, weapons, mountains of it gleaming in the darkness.
And Smaug.
And Smaug.
Asleep.
Right on top of the biggest pile. He's enormous. Red gold scales, vast wings folded, smoke curling from his nostrils. The sheer size and power are terrifying.
What does Bilbo do? He can't fight that.
No way. He's invisible, remember. Driven by a mix of fear and maybe a touch of that tookish curiosity, he creeps forward, picks up a single heavy two-handled golden cup, and scurries back up the tunnel as fast as he can.
Just one cup. To prove he was there?
Exactly. The dwarves are ecstatic. They pass the cup around, thrilled. They think maybe this won't be so hard after all. Their greed starts to bubble up.
But Smaug, he noticed.
Oh, instantly. Even in his sleep, Smaug knows every single piece of his hoard. He wakes up, feels the tiny gap where the cup was, and explodes in rage. The entire mountain shakes. He knows there's a thief.
So he comes roaring out.
Not immediately. First, he blasts fire down the tunnel, nearly frying the dwarves waiting at the top. Then he flies out of the main gate on the other side of the mountain, circling, trying to find the intruders.
And the dwarves want Bilbo to go back in. Are they crazy?
Dragon sickness is starting to set in, maybe? Greed is overriding common sense. They practically force Bilbo to go down again to scout things out.
Do you see?
Reluctantly, yes. He goes back down. This time, Smaug is awake and waiting. And they talk.
Bilbo talks to the dragon.
He does, very cleverly, using riddles and flattering titles. Smaug the Tremendous, Smaug the chiefest and greatest of calamities. He never reveals his name, calls himself Barrel Rider, Clue Finder.
Trying to outwit the dragon.
Exactly. And Smaug, being vain, loves the flattery, but is also trying to figure out who Bilbo is and where he came from. He boasts about his power, his impenetrable armor.
And that's when Bilbo sees it, the weak spot.
Yes. Smaug rolls over to show off his diamond-encrusted waistcoat, and Bilbo spots a small bare patch on his left breast, a missing scale right over the heart.
The Achilles heel.
Precisely. Fatal knowledge. But Smaug is sharp. From Bilbo's riddles, especially Barrel Rider, he guesses the thief had help from Lake Town.
Oh dear. That's bad for a lake town.
Very bad. Smaug roars that he'll get his revenge and flies off in a fury towards Esgaroth. Bilbo just barely escapes the tunnel again and warns the dwarves.
So Smaug attacks Lake Town.
He descends on it like a hurricane of fire, sets the wooden town ablaze. Panic, chaos, destruction everywhere. It looks like the end of Lake Town.
But there's Bard, right, the archer.
Yes, Bard, a descendant of the old lords of Dale. He's grim, brave. He rallies the town's archers, but their arrows just bounce off Smaug's scales.
Until the thrush shows up again.
That same old thrush. It flies down and speaks to Bard. Apparently, Bard's family had the ancient gift of understanding bird language. The thrush tells him about the bare patch Bilbo saw.
So Bard knows where to aim.
He takes his last special black arrow, draws his great bow, and lets fly. It hits the bare spot, sinks deep. Smaug gives one last agonizing shriek and crashes down into the lake, dead. His fires are quenched.
Wow, the dragon is dead. They did it. Quest over.
Not quite. The dragon might be gone, but the trouble is just beginning. Inside the mountain, with the treasure now theirs for the taking, Thorin changes.
How so?
He becomes obsessed, possessive, suspicious. The dragon sickness, that madness born of immense wealth, takes hold of him completely. He barricades the mountain's gate.
He won't share, even with the lake men who suffered because of the dragon he woke up.
Nope. He sees everyone as a potential thief. He's consumed by paranoia. And while this is happening, Bilbo is exploring the hoard.
And he finds something special.
He finds the Arkenstone, the heart of the mountain, this huge, magnificent white gem that glows with its own inner light. It was the most prized possession of Thorin's ancestors.
And Bilbo, He pockets it. Secretly.
He does. He's awed by it, but he also senses Thorin's growing madness and thinks maybe, just maybe, this stone could be important later. He keeps it hidden.
Smart hobbit. Meanwhile, outside the mountain, trouble's brewing.
Big trouble. Bard, now the hero of Lake Town, leads his people to the mountain, asking for a share of the treasure to rebuild their home, as Thorin had implicitly promised. And the Elven King, Thranduil, also marches up with an army.
Why Thranduil?
He feels he's owed compensation for the dwarves' imprisonment, and maybe he has ancient claims on parts of the treasure too. Plus, he doesn't trust dwarves with that much wealth.
So Bard and Thranduil join forces, and Thorin says,
Thorin basically tells them get lost, call them thieves. He refuses to share a single coin. He's completely lost to the dragon sickness. He sends word via Raven to his cousin Dane Ironfoot in the Iron Hills, summoning a dwarf army to defend the mountain.
So it's a siege. Elves and men outside, paranoid dwarves inside. This is going to end badly.
It looks like it's heading towards a disastrous war between the very people who should be allies. And Bilbo is stuck in the middle, horrified by Thorin's descent.
So what does he do? He has the Arkenstone.
He makes an incredibly brave, incredibly risky decision. He decides the Arkenstone is the only thing Thorin values enough to possibly trade for peace. So, using his ring, he sneaks out of the mountain at night.
He deserts.
You could call it that. He goes straight to Bard and Thranduil's camp and gives them the Arkenstone. He offers it to them as a bargaining chip, something to force Thorin to negotiate and avoid bloodshed.
Wow, that's treason against Thorin, but maybe the only moral choice.
It's a huge moral pivot. He's risking everything, his friendship with the dwarves, maybe even his life, for the sake of peace. When Bard presents the Arkenstone to Thorin the next day, Thorin is absolutely livid.
He realizes Bilbo betrayed him.
Calls him a traitor, a miserable rat. He nearly throws Bilbo off the battlements. It's terrifying.
But Gandalf shows up, again, just in time.
Gandalf appears, seemingly out of nowhere, right there on the wall. He defends Bilbo's actions, saying Bilbo might be the only one acting with any sense. He gets Bilbo safely out of Thorin's reach.
Okay, so negotiation might happen now, but Dane's army is coming.
Dane arrives with hundreds of tough dwarf warriors from the Iron Hills ready to break the siege. The elves and men prepare to fight them. It's seconds away from elf versus dwarf versus man. When Gandalf shouts a warning, dark clouds are gathering in the north. A third army, a much worse enemy, is descending upon them all.
Goblins.
Goblins and wargs. A massive horde pouring down from the mountains, led by Bolg, the son of Azog, an ancient enemy of Thorin's family. They've come for the treasure and for revenge.
So the squabbling allies have to unite.
They have no choice. Gandalf rallies them, elves, men, and dwarves against the common enemy. And so begins the battle of 5 armies.
5 armies. Who's the 5th?
Elves, men, dwarves, goblins, and wargs. It's a brutal, chaotic fight all around the base of the Lonely Mountain.
What about Thorin? Does he finally snap out of it?
He does. Seeing the desperate fight, hearing the call to battle, Thorin finally shakes off the worst of the dragon sickness. He leads his 12 companions in a heroic charge out of the gate, right into the thickest fighting, rallying the defenders.
And Bilbo, what's he doing in all this?
He puts on his ring, mostly staying out of the direct fighting, watching in horror from Ravenhill. He feels pretty useless until a falling stone knocks him unconscious again. He misses the climax of the battle.
Which is?
Things are looking bad for the allies again, despite Thorin's charge. But then, the eagles arrive, sweeping down from the sky, turning the tide against the goblins on the mountain slope. And then Beorn shows up, in his immense bear form, utterly furious. He smashes through the goblin lines like a wrecking ball, finds Thorin, who has been gravely wounded, rescues him, and crushes Bolg, the goblin leader. His arrival basically breaks the enemy's back. So, the battle is won, goblins and wargs are defeated, but at a cost.
A terrible cost. When Bilbo wakes up, he learns the news. Thorin's loyal nephews, Feli and Kili, died defending him. And Thorin himself, he's mortally wounded.
Oh no. Does Bilbo get to see him?
Yes. He's brought to Thorin's bedside, and Thorin, now dying, is finally free of the dragon sickness. He's clear-headed, calm, and he wants to make peace with Bilbo.
What does he say?
It's incredibly moving. He acknowledges Bilbo's goodness, his courage, his wisdom, and then he says those famous lines, "If more of us valued food and cheer and song above hoarded gold, it would be a merrier world."
Wow, that's the whole point, isn't it?
It really is. The central theme of the book, spoken by the character who suffered most from ignoring it. He asks Bilbo's forgiveness, and they part as friends. Thorin dies peacefully soon after. What happens to Thorin and the Arkenstone?
He's buried deep under the Lonely Mountain. with the Arkenstone laid upon his breast. Orcrist, the sword, is placed on his tomb. A very noble end for the king under the mountain.
And Dane, Thorin's cousin.
Dane Ironfoot becomes the new king under the mountain, and he proves to be a wise and fair ruler. He honors the agreements Thorin wouldn't.
So the treasure gets divided?
Yes, justly. Bard gets a generous portion to rebuild Dale and help Laketown. The Elven King receives treasure too. Even Bilbo is offered a huge share.
But he doesn't take much, does he?
Hardly anything. Just 2 small chests, one of gold, one of silver. Enough to make him comfortable, but nothing like what he could have claimed. The dwarves are baffled. But Bilbo's had enough adventure and riches. He just wants to go home.
His perspective really has changed.
Completely. The journey home is much quicker, safer. He travels with Gandalf for part of it, stops again in Rivendell where Elrond welcomes them. Bilbo's no longer just the respectable hobbit. He's older, wiser, tested. He found courage he never knew he had. That's his real treasure.
But returning home isn't quite simple, is it? What does he find back in the Shire?
He finds his own belongings being auctioned off. He'd been gone so long, everyone assumed he was dead. His sudden reappearance causes quite a scandal in Hobbiton.
They're selling his stuff.
Yep. Spoons, furniture, the lot. He has to buy a lot of it back. It takes ages to sort out the legal mess of proving he's alive.
And his reputation, is he still respectable?
Oh, not at all. From then on, he's considered decidedly queer. He disappears sometimes, talks to elves and dwarves, writes poetry, has wizards visit. He loses his respectability completely.
Does he mind?
Not really. He seems quite content. He settles back into Bag End, enjoys his quiet life, but with a difference. He writes his story down there and back again. A hobbit's holiday. The Shire seems a bit smaller, maybe, after seeing the wide world.
And Gandalf visits?
Occasionally. And there's this lovely exchange near the end where Gandalf reminds him, "You're only quite a little fellow in a wide world after all."
And Bilbo says?
Thank goodness. He's happy to be small again, happy to be home, but he's not the same hobbit who left.
But there's still the ring, isn't there? That loose end.
Ah, yes. The little magic ring he found. He kept it secret, mostly. Used it occasionally, maybe to avoid annoying relatives. He feels strangely attached to it.
And neither he nor Gandalf really understands what it is yet.
Not fully. Gandalf has suspicions, perhaps. But the true nature of that ring, well, that's a story for another time. It's the crucial link, though, connecting this adventure to the much larger events to come in Middle-earth.
So looking back, the big takeaway is really about heroism coming from unexpected places.
Absolutely. It's not about being big or strong or noble-born. Bilbo, the small, comfort-loving hobbit, saves the day through wit, courage, and, crucially, moral choices, like sparing Gollum, like giving up the Arkenstone. His quiet decency changes everything.
He proves that even the smallest person can influence the course of history. A pretty profound message.
It really is. A story about finding the strength you didn't know you had and valuing the right things.
We hope this exploration was helpful for your learning journey today. Before you go, please like, share, and subscribe button.